We hear it all the time. The richest are in the niches, and that it is important to know who you don't want to do business with just as much as who you want to do business with. Today, our guest is Mark Chyz, president of CM2 Media, and we are going to get into that.
This is The Real Bottom Line, where we tell entrepreneurial stories about true grit and perseverance from frontline business owners themselves. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to The Real Bottom Line, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited, and we start out the show with a little history, and I'd love to hear, how did you get into owning your own company? Have you always been an entrepreneur?
No, I had visions of it when I was in my teen years. I was delivering papers. I was doing stuff on my own. I worked in retail. I've always been big into sports, so I worked in sporting goods stores, and that taught me so much on the sales process, but also value. And then working with two very different entrepreneurs. One type who was very, doing his books every night, every piece of, every detail covered, but very cheap. Right. And wouldn't spend to do anything. And then you had the other guy who was more of a cowboy. He'd light up a cigarette on a blowtorch in front of a client and just be like, he knew these are the skates you need. His sales tactics were incredible. So, but he wasn't so organized. Right. And it was just like two different types of people. That was very inspirational. And then I wound up working for two very large organizations through my growth in many different job titles. One ABC Radio in Detroit, and then in doing sports radio. And then at was now Caesars Entertainment in Windsor, in doing many different positions there, from bussing tables to valet parking, to then working into what was the multimedia department, to then getting so much in education, and that into, like, I always loved when I was in school of the entertainment, the video, of the marketing angles and commercials and all this stuff. So I was very much into that through my high school and university years. So it's like this job then let me really put a lot of it together, the radio piece, to talk to people, to go interview people, the all that we had, from working with entertainment to doing sound and lights and corporate functions. And I got a gamut of experience, and then it led into web design and doing video for web and being on all these video shoots and stuff. And it was just like, let's put it all together, because let's go back to where it was. And my dad was talking at one point of leaving his job and starting a business. And it was just like, it was always very interesting to me. And then when I started getting, like, at the casino, like, I got them to pay for courses. They had the education post, after work hours, to go educate yourself more. So I got more of that done. And I was like, well, I can do this on the side. And so I need a website. Can you do that? And I said, yes. So it started very freelancy in 2005, then became into building a business and weaning off full-time work hours, to then when I met my now wife, having that it's time to go and start a full-fledged company with, you're not having this full-time job and doing it as a part-time thing. And that was in 2012. So there wasn't a jump off the cliff moment, though. I had clients. So, when I moved up to the Greater Toronto area from Windsor, I then, had a client base. There was money coming in. So it wasn't that just like, I'm going to do this today kind of thing. And I had some experience of dealing with people and clients, and, the managing your own money and the accounting piece of it, but it was just going to be a lot bigger with more, I guess, pressure into it, because now it's like it's all that you're doing. And that was in 2012. So here we are 11 years later, 11 years as a corporation of CM2 Media.
Wow. How many people do you have working with you now, Mark? Do you have a balance of employees and independent contractors, or how does that work?
We have a mix. Yeah. We have 8 full-time employees, and those are like the day-to-day. We made a lot of decisions over the years, especially COVID changed this business a lot. To the day-to-day task-based marketing, you need to be in touch with the clients. We need to be doing social posts, blog writing, website updates, all that stuff. Those need to be people that are full-time, that are in the office, and we come in twice a week now to go over stuff. And then we have up to 14 contractors. Not all of them are working on a daily basis, but we've got a great loyal group of contractors that stuck with us through COVID, that for many different reasons, they work from home. They're not interested in being an employee. They have a couple clients that they work with, but they're very dedicated to us. So it is a mix, and it's like where the best fits are to, who does what kind of thing.
In the Business Value Amplifier program that I run, we talk a bit about doing, like, narrowing the product shelf and just getting really, really good at that. And I think that's something you've naturally done, Mark. Let's talk a little bit about that. When did you decide to niche down, and what is your niche?
Our niche is interesting because it's not like a defined by service niche. I mean, we have 6 core offerings that we do, and that's strategy piece, design, video, SEO, SEM, social, and web, right?
Mhm.
Those are like the 6 things. It's like we are not going to venture out of that. We will not, like, there's a lot of things that we got rid of. And one of them was like, I was doing a lot of digital signage design when I was working full
Oh,
time.
interesting.
And that taught me a lot about running video, but now a lot of video for web and shooting and editing video. However, as a company, to try and work that into other things, or how often they need these updates versus the value to how much you could charge and things like that, it was like not a fit. And there were a lot of things that was like, get rid of this stuff that's just eating up your time. A lot of different task-based things. We're in the beginning. I think, the typical entrepreneurial story is grab anything you can get and figure it out. So that's really changed. But back to the niche part, our niche is entrepreneurs, or the key decision makers, I'll always say.
Yeah.
So there can be organizations of different sizes, but I will not work in the siloed, wait 6 months to hear back from things, maybe not get paid for 6 months, the larger organizations. That's for other agencies to deal with. That's not
Yeah.
us. I want to deal with the go-getters, that we see the change, that we can have the blunt, real discussions with, of this is the truth about your business, how people see it digitally. This is where we're succeeding. This is where we're failing. This is where we're going to make changes. And you have those regular, truthful discussions. And entrepreneurs are very realistic about having truthful discussions. They want to, because it's going to make an impact to their business right away. And I'm not an overly patient person, like I want to see things move, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the task driver of this company. I'm the creative and the sales, and let's get stuff going, right? So I understand where we need to be and with who, and that is it. So like, often now when a client approaches us, say they find us via Google or social media, I'm vetting them as much as they're vetting us,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm not interested in problematic relationships. There's nothing with drama, nothing with things that just get too much attached to it. So feeling out the people, who they are, how they run their business, just their persona, their energy, everything is like that's a very important thing for us.
Yeah.
We've learned over the years of the people, your worst clients will also be your biggest energy suck, right? And they take the most time, and then often they're ones not paying anywhere near as much either. So we've really learned to avoid that. And it's an interesting thing. Right before this, I've been doing I've got a client ranking list, and literally that like helps us make decisions on how much time you've got to give. Is something urgent for a client? We don't deal in fires, but if you got to make a decision of how much time I'm putting into something, go back to that list.
That's fascinating. Okay, so even though it sounds psychographic in the sense of you're looking for someone with a certain mindset and a certain approach to growing their business and wants to engage at a certain level, as opposed to say, oh, they're in this sector and they have this much in sales and da 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 da. It's more about the mindset and can they write the check? And will they write the
100%.
check?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And to not have to constantly convince, right?
Right.
Convincing is, if you need to be convinced with marketing, it's like, we're not a fit, because I'm not
Right.
going to keep trying that battle, right?
Right.
Like, ride with us. We're experienced. We have a great team. We're very responsible to our clients, that, we're not here to make Google and Facebook rich. We're here to make your business money. So let's spend these. We need to use those avenues for things, right?
Yep.
But let's spend your dollars appropriately. So,
Mhm.
budget's always one of those questions that people, what are you going to spend? Like, well, let's figure out these numbers, but where to make an impact, and do it, bell curve it in, develop a trust with the clients, right? Because it's just something that there's too many unknowns that they, and a lot of entrepreneurs by nature are control freaks. So they don't like to let go of things, right? Well,
talk
it's
about Mark.
very hard. Yeah.
But I do like the idea of ranking your clients at some level, but I'm sure it doesn't get shared. But what are some of the criteria that you use to say these are really good clients? Like, what makes them how do I get to the top of the
It's
list?
literally, it's like an analytical list of 10 categories, but they're not weighted equally.
Okay.
And it's not done you spend this much, so you go on the A list. Like,
Right.
the spend is part of it, of course. We're all in business to make money. However, what is your energy? What is your reliability? Do you pay on time? Are you a teammate in this journey? There's a lot of things that are more of like that. We really like working with you piece, because, we have a few not-for-profits that we work with that are pretty high up the list. They're just, it's the energy's right. It's everything feels good about that. And then some that spend a lot that, is it worth it? Because, it becomes challenging. So, and that's okay. Life has many, relationships, people move on from each other, but also we attract better. And one of the, reevaluating this list makes a huge impact, because I looked at this now and I'm like, from our last meeting we had with the core management team, we were like, how do we get more A-list, higher profile clients and get rid of the garbage? And the latest list is very fascinating of how many new, great, high energy entrepreneurial clients we have and what we actually eliminated, and the stress levels of the employees, and it's like, we can easily talk to our employees, and I'll have those truthful discussions of, if this person is just all over you and they're too much for you, it's time for me to have the discussions, but also maybe it's time to move on if that's how you feel like you should treat people or what you think we're in this for.
Are you looking to boost your business value beyond just increasing profit? Introducing the Business Value Amplifier, a revolutionary 10-week program designed to help you uncover proven methods to enhance your company's worth. Discover how to transition from feeling unsure about maximizing your business value to becoming a savvy operator who deliberately and methodically pulls the levers of value building. With the Business Value Amplifier, you can expect to take control of your business's growth and be intentional about enhancing its value. Whether you're planning to sell or simply want a more vibrant, predictable, and lucrative operation, this program is for you. Don't miss out on this opportunity to amplify your business's value in just 10 weeks. Go to blackstarwealth.com/amplify and apply for the Business Value Amplifier today. That's blackstarwealth.com/amplify. Your business will thank you.
I wanted to talk about the is it worth it piece, but not from your viewpoint, but say from the client viewpoint. I think that's something that's not talked about a lot, is customer acquisition costs versus lifetime value of a client. So if we look at engaging someone of your nature, there's a cost, and that becomes part of our client acquisition cost versus lifetime. What's your philosophy around that, Mark? How should entrepreneurs be looking at that? Through what lens?
I think that depends on the business. Truthfully, we work with a lot of service-based businesses, B2B type businesses, and then you've got ones that have residual built into them, right? If you're an appointment based, landing a client once can turn into getting a whole family in there for, whether it be through benefits, whatever it may be, if it's therapy, if it's dental, if it's legal, whatever it may be, residual clients. I think you've got to have a lens of, are we acquiring the right people? Not so much the cost of a specific one. I find when you get down to, because it's very hard to target, month over month, what did we spend to get this one client, right? And if you're looking at a B2B relationship, a lot of people are not going to, they may be looking for you, but they're not ready to make that decision instantly. So, you may have to have a couple follow-up calls, meetings, things like that. I don't track my time and that kind of stuff, because it's do I enjoy it? Do I feel like it's going to be worth it, right? We have a fixed marketing budget to what we will spend on our own marketing, and we like to apply that model to our clients. So when they come back to us and they say, well, who does this well? It's go look at our own, right? Go look at what we're doing on LinkedIn, go look at our website, go look at our SEO. How did you find us? Right. So then it turns into, oh, this does make a lot of sense. If you take care of yourself, you're far more likely. It's if you're going to go to the gym, the trainer better be fit, right? Yeah.
Well, what also strikes me is so often in a lot of places, it's the cobbler's shoes, so to speak, in that even I see some marketing agencies, their marketing isn't the best because they're so busy working on other things. Whereas you're no, this is our billboard, man. So we're gonna spend the time and effort on that.
Well, right. Even today, this event that we were at Friday, we're putting out our own post of us being there. Focus, get the client stuff out the door first, but it's we can't miss this opportunity to show that we were there and we were the ones doing this, right? So, it's very important for your own marketing to show through what what your capabilities are, right? If you don't have it's to me, it's funny, so many web design agencies or marketing agencies, their websites are poor.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I mean, look at it. Do I want to hire somebody that can't provide their own great website?
Yeah. About prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
you've mentioned fixed budget. How do you set that budget, Mark? Are you setting it as a percentage of your sales in a particular month or year? And how far in advance are you setting that budget?
We go in quarters.
Okay.
So we look at the next quarter, we set goals for the quarter of, inbound leads, the quality of them, what they are. This is like an ideal client relationship too, that, that how many leads did you generate versus what your sales team closed on. You need to know those numbers, for sure. But that's why I say like month over month is a little bit, it's not telling,
long enough.
it's not long enough. It's not telling the entire story, especially when you're looking at relationship-based businesses, right? I mean, how many people would you go to and say, oh, I Googled it and now let's just go, right? You want to have conversations, or you want to find out more about them, or look at their testimonials, or even like one thing we do. I will offer, do you want to talk to some of our clients? Get their story. Don't just listen to me try and preach what we do. It's like anybody can be a great salesperson, but talk to the people that we actually work with, and they'd be like, you'll find out.
It feels you're very confident about this stuff, Mark. Where did that come from? Have you always been confident about the work to that point, or,
I mean, as you grow, you learn so much, but you have to pay attention to the lessons and apply them. And I mean, I've learned to let go of a lot of things. A lot of entrepreneurs just want to hold on to everything. And I've learned to let go of things, like using project managers as an example. We've got 2 full-time project managers that are amazing. It's like, that is not for me. Like, I am not that checklist every day, be on top of people. I am not. I want to go. So sometimes they'll throttle me back, but knowing my weaknesses to then where I need to hire, right, and fill in around these people. But we have a great culture, right? So when you say, where's the confidence come from? It's a cultural thing of our company values to align with the types of clients that we want. If I find that you're a little sketchy, or your product is something that defies some ethics or things that we believe in, it's like, we're not touching you at all. You've got to be just as interested as we are, right? We know we've got many success stories. We will make it work for you if you're willing to, be an active participant in it, not just you go do what you do, or you want to be too involved, right? There's a nice place where, you need to be involved as a client, but you can't try and take it over. Because and again, you said this right at the beginning, a lot of people think they can do it, and it's like, most of you can't, or you don't even have the time to do it. Some people are incredibly talented, brilliant people with marketing minds. They just don't have the time to, because they're so into all the other things that go into their business, right? So maybe be involved enough and have the confidence of what we're delivering. That matters. So going back to what you said about the confidence piece, it's really in our team that we, I know that they're working hard, they're dedicated, they care. And that's one of our company values, is the care factor, to make sure that everybody that cares about every client that we have. So that's why I can easily say that, yeah, confidently, I know we can deliver for you, or maybe you're not a fit and we won't work together.
What does, if we go into digital marketing, right? So you talked about web development, content strategies, SEO, SEM. Tell me more about SEM versus SEO, because that sounds interesting to me.
Well, the SEO piece, the Google organic results, it's best to have a mix of both. And the SEM piece is more of the paid ad side of, whether it be banners, Facebook, Google, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, so many different places to do your advertising now. Even, Amazon, you can advertise in there. The SEM piece is the paid ads piece. The SEO is the organic piece. And it's good to have a nice mix of both if you have the budget. And if you don't have the budget, what are your goals? What do you need to have happen in the first 3 months? Is it something that you need to just be like, holy smokes, we're slow and I need to fill a bunch of bookings? Well, the paid piece will do a lot more for you immediately. However, the organic piece long term will get you on those search rankings with the keywords with a properly done SEO campaign. There's so many different factors to do the SEO side, but it's a longer term investment. Same with social media. You don't just flip a switch and the algorithms don't like you. You've got to be present. You got to be a participant. So, it very much depends on what the client's needs are, to then what we will do for them and when. And yeah, like I said earlier, like the bell curving up piece matters a lot, and what do you have? Fine. If clients say, oh, here's what we're comfortable with spending, right away. It's like, let's not do that right away. Let's work with the data that we're going to get over the first 3 months, then build up to that. Because, let's learn a little bit about the digital story. Data tells you a lot. We go in with an education, from other clients that we work with, but also, what what the metrics tell us, but they're not going to tell you in that day, exactly what it's going to be. So stuff does change. Competitive landscape changes a lot, from organic search results to even paid ads. You might be paying more per ad because there's way more competitors in there. We've seen a ton of this in the family law space. Like, we work with a fair amount of family lawyers, and just the amount of ad spend that family lawyers are now spending just to try and get that acquisition just keeps rising, right? And so, your competitive space changes, and that's nothing we have control over. However, we've got to tell the truth when it comes to that stuff. Like, Google ad prices are going way up. Do you want to do this? Or here's some of the solutions we provide, or here's how to run your ads on a little bit different schedule, or, that's it. And I say we're a solutions provider, when it comes to these things, because, too much entrepreneurs have too many things going on. Yeah. So how do we convey, that we're looking out for you, that we're making sure that, we saw this, it was going to cost way too much. If you're not comfortable paying this per click, let's move some money here. The SEO stuff isn't taking off like we used to. Can we add more to it? Whatever, like we expected, right? So there's a lot of things to take care of, when you're doing this. But again, I go back to, the original question was the SEO versus SEM piece. What is a fit for you and your business is really what matters the most to decide where it's the best to put the time and the energy into.
Well, okay. I always found SEO overwhelmed me. Like, I felt like there was always so much to it that it was like almost became I'm not doing any of it because I can't figure it out.
There's 200 plus factors, and Google's algorithms change. And I'll talk about Google because that's about 90% of web searches are done on Google. But even your mobile search is different than your desktop search, that, where you are versus where I am, it's going to matter, right? So there are a lot of factors, and SEO is a very difficult thing to do on your own. We have clients where we do a mix where if they're in a very specialized field and they're good at content writing, we'll give them like, here's the keywords to write for. Then we'll build in all the technical pieces once they provide us that content, right? Yeah. So, it's a mix of use your expertise plus our expertise, and then some we do all the writing for, because we're very educated in that space, whatever it is. But content writing is just part of it. You've got there's the social media algorithms and hashtags and the metrics that come in from that. There's the technical pieces, your web hosting. There's so many things that go into SEO. So trying to think you're going to do it on your own is a challenge. And even having the tools, like there's subscriptions you can pay for that tell you a lot about what's going on, but what do you do with it then? Is the bigger thing. And right. And even like we build clients up at different levels. Like, if you only have this much to spend and your impact needs to be something fairly achievable, here's what we will do first, or here's what we'll take care of on a daily basis, right? And then just work up to it, when they see results. Like, there's a local kitchen bath renovation company we work for, and they're quite fine at the level that they've been at for about 3 years because it's doing enough for them. They don't want to hire more people. They know what they are. So it's like, this works well enough for them that these 10 keywords locally perform exceptionally well. They're searched a lot, right? And it's getting them customers, and they're good.
Hey, growth-oriented business owners, are you ready to take your business to new heights and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs? I would like to introduce you to the Elite Growth Community, your ticket to a world of learning, sharing, strategizing, and problem solving. Our monthly live events will bring together successful business owners just like you, who are making over 6 figures and have been in the game for at least 2 years. And the best part, your first event is absolutely free. So try it out and see if it's the right fit for you. And after that, for just $17 a month, you'll unlock unlimited access to our exclusive community where you can accelerate your business growth like never before. No commitments, month to month. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity to join the Elite Growth Community at blackstarwealth.com/elite. Sign up today and watch your business soar to a new heights. That's blackstarwealth.com/ELITE. Hope to see you soon. If your company has said, I want to increase my revenue by 20-30% year over year, what would be your first step with someone like that? Like, what would you ask them?
We usually I'll say what I'll call our babies, right? That we work with, the clients that we just we align together. It's like, go have a lunch and a coffee or a drink and talk business. They work exceptionally well with us when we start with them at the strategy piece, right? And well before, because we'll often get a call or web lead come in and say, oh, I need to do Google ads. and be why. Ask the whys before anything else, and then
Yeah.
have a strategy session or do a full like audit and blueprint of drawing up what is your strategy, the who you are, what you are, your voice, your tone, your values, your mission, your vision, like all these things. Because without them, a lot of companies never do this, or they think they're like, oh, that's just, it's a waste. We don't need that. Well, that's not going to turn into, no, the consistency matters so much of how you look, speak, act everywhere, from who's answering the phones when somebody calls to what your website says, to who's talking on video in your social media posts, right? So really, like that question of I want to increase this, like do a full SWOT analysis, go over a full strategy, and this stuff takes time and multiple meetings. Like it'll be hours and it'll be pretty intense, but it's like to get you to where you need to be when you do a full strategy session, to then lead into, okay, now you need a website revamp. Your website's not good enough to perform with that revenue increase that you expect. And now then let's get into tactics after that, right? So that's really the ideal way for us. If somebody says, because if you're going to be aggressive with revenue growth, everything's got to be aligned. Because like some people are like, oh, I just need to spend more money on Google Ads. It's like, but if your website's slow, if it's terrible, if your landing pages aren't telling them exactly what they're searching for, you're actually spending more money for your competitors, because people won't just click on you. They'll go find others. And then if they don't like what they're seeing, or if it doesn't even make sense to what they clicked on, the first thing they're going to do is go click back and go to the next person.
I feel like there's a lot of potentially bad actors in your space, or like there's a lot of people who are like, buy this course and you'll know how to do SEO, or you know what I mean? Like all this, there's noise in that communication channel.
Mm-hmm.
As an entrepreneur, what are some 2 or 3 things that I can use as my lens to know that I'm narrowing the field down to the quality folks that I potentially want to work with?
I think, are they asking questions, or are they just providing you a cookie cutter, proposal? We don't cookie cut anything with clients because of that. Every business is unique. Your location is unique, like how your website is performing. Like there's so many different factors. So if somebody wants to get right into be like, here's a quote, that's a major warning sign, right? Like, and if they're not going to invest a little bit of time learning about you, I mean, I don't, I wouldn't like it the other way. And I always relate to, or if they want to lock you into a contract right away, lock you into something long-term. And, as entrepreneurs, we really don't like that. So if that's one of the
commitment issues, Mark,
a lot of these things are like, like you're going to be cookie cuttered. You're going to lock me into a contract. You're going to spend 2 seconds and tell me what I need. It's like, that's not real. Like you're raising a lot of red flags. There are a lot of, I don't know what the proper word to be used, but like in this business, we deal with a lot of clients that come to us to say, oh, I'm not happy with who's been doing my work, or I've had a freelancer, or I've had an agency that didn't do this. And like, let's say I was doing SEO, and I'll say, okay, well, can you send me your reports? Like, what were they doing? I don't know. Well, you should always know, right? And if people aren't going to be transparent, because all the data is actually out there, you just have to know how to go get it. So, what Google ads should cost, what key terms are ranking, like all these things, people can go find it, or another agency can go find it and bring it back to them, right? So you really got to be transparent. I mean, that's one thing I pride us on versus a lot of agencies are not. Like, if it's not everything's going to be bliss in marketing, right? And there's competition, right?
Yeah.
If you go, if you're Sidney Crosby, if you're the best hockey player, you're not going to win the Stanley Cup every year, right? Because there's competitors, right? So, but be very good, train hard, be consistent day to day, you'll be more successful, right? So that's the thing. And when you go, who should you hire and what to look out for? I mean, I'll always have the discussions. If I feel it could be a fit, let's take the time to learn about you, and about your business before ever providing anything that, you should do this.
Yeah, I think the cookie cutter approach, I think I see it a lot in my industry as well. We're just going to put you here, 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 and do this just because this is how you look, versus, hey, what's your end goal? And
well, right. And it's like, there's a lot in business. Systems are an amazing thing. However, in the marketing side, your business shouldn't be treated as a system. Because if you go in a cookie.
Yeah, I think there's a methodology to moving people through a process, but that the output can be 100% customized to that client.
Absolutely.
Right. Before we go, is there anything I haven't asked about marketing for entrepreneurs or niching that you think we should talk about before we sign off?
Well, I think there's so many different factors, and it's, find out what it is you need the most. Like, Google reviews are a massive thing, and they can help you on so many different levels. But are you a business that can get a lot of them? Or is it going to make an impact with your, with your SEO, with your Google Maps locations? So the point is that it's just got to be, you've got to open your eyes to say, I need to talk to a few people. I should talk to multiple agencies if I'm looking to hire them, right? And in the digital marketing space, if I'm going to look at doing something on my own, maybe talk to somebody even as a consultant for a bit to find out where are you going to put your best time and energy into something, or then grow it to a point where now I need to, farm out some of this to somebody else. But do your research on it. And there's plenty of tools out there. There's a lot of things that can help you make decisions. And again, I'll say with any entrepreneur, trust your gut. Does it feel right that this is the organization for me, that it's not, because so many people just want to jump into getting something done immediately and they feel like it's just going to make a great splash, but I think really take the time, to make the decisions with who you're going to work with.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark, for your time. So we could go on for hours about this, I'm quite sure of it. But I think the real bottom line here today is you need to start with strategy and vision.
Oh, that's it. That's why I say, I use the term our babies, right? Because we grow together. Once we start with a strategy and vision, and you start adding more things into it. And there's a few organizations that I could use as examples of just like how much it changes in a year. And if you give it a true year, but you start with strategy to having a great website, to then going into the tactics, whether it be social media, video marketing, SEO, SEM, whatever it may be, the impact you see if you stick with it for a year, it is impressive. But it's just a lot of people don't want to wait. Being impatient with marketing is not good.
That's the second bottom line. Thanks so much for your time today, Mark.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Real Bottom Line. This show is produced by Black Star Wealth. Executive producer, Wendy Brookhouse. To learn more about the show or to contact us, go to blackstarwealth.com.